Hey everybody, this is Don from Wizard Tower Games, and with me is Tim Kask from Curmudgeon in the Cellar and TSR fame and Eldritch Enterprises, and I can go on and on and on. Tim, how you doing?
I'm all right. I forgot I did all those things.
You did that and a lot more.
Yeah.
We're going to talk
Celtic
tonight.
Studios.
Celtic Studios.
That's what I operate under now. Celtic Studios.
Yep. Well, we're going to talk tonight about Lost Adventures of GaryCon. We're going to show the book. We're going to show the goodies that come with it. We're going to talk about what inspired it. Like I just telling Tim, we're just going to go off the cuff and kind of see where the video lays tonight.
Yeah, it'll be something to watch when you're really bored late at night. And maybe got a little buzz on going, go, okay, let's go see what these guys got to ramble about for a while.
Well, I guess probably to dive into this first, I'll kind of let you tell this part is what brought this on, what made you want to do it?
Okay, when Gary died, I was not able to make it to the funeral where the first impromptu GaryCon actually happened, where a bunch of people went up to the Legion Hall and played games after the burial or wake or what. I wasn't there. We were having a blizzard down in Cincinnati. So, of course, I was in contact with the family, and they said they were going to do a convention in his honor, and would I be interested? Could I attend and help tell people about it? And I said I'd be delighted.
Yeah. And
I even have a couple things hanging on my wall here, some cards that I made up at the time that were. Well, the only one I can think of right now is chocolate chips instead of microchips. And we were celebrating the man's legacy. I said, sure, I'd be delighted to. And I promised that as long as I'm physically able to, I will attend GaryCon in my friend's honor. And so then, of course, back in those days, particularly, you had to write an adventure if you're going to go to a con. And so I wrote The Tower of the Mad Wizard, which was kind of an homage to Gary, even though he wasn't really that enamored of being a magician. He surprisingly had several rather high-powered ones in his stable.
Imagine that.
Yeah. He was so against, letting magic users rule the world, but he had a couple of really, really tough dudes. One of which is, I understand, is forever lost on Jim Ward's Warden, as Jim has passed and Gary's passed, and no one will ever play Jim's Warden again. That wizard is forever lost in space.
Yep.
Of time and memory. So there was it was an homage, and there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek things put in there. I'll skim through it real quick to remind myself, because God, I wrote this 15, 16 years ago.
Well, funny
2009.
enough,
Yeah, that's when I wrote it. Good.
Yeah, God. You actually kind of have an you mentioned Little Lukey in it.
Oh, is he? I don't know if he's in this one or the other one.
Maybe it was the other one.
Yeah, he's in the second one. In this one, there's a whole bunch of Easter eggs, but only if you read the old Dragon and stuff like that.
Tim,
because
can I interrupt real quick?
E3.
Yeah, can I interrupt real quick on something?
Yeah.
It's a question that has been asked to me at least, oddly, a half dozen times since probably in the last month and a half about you and Gary and something Gary does or not. And I figure you mentioned Easter eggs. Now, we were talking one time on your back porch. And you mentioned that one of the Easter eggs that Gary liked to kind of toss in was words that made people go, what is that? And kind of like make them look up the word, interesting words.
Yeah.
Was there any other type of Easter eggs that Gary liked to insert into his modules or anything, or just that?
They weren't so much Easter eggs as we know them now today, but I admit I share the same mischievous
yes, you do.
Opinion. I'm proud if I write an adventure and there aren't 3 or 4 words in there.
Yep.
that a lot of people are going to have to look up.
You made me do
I
it.
figure that's just the teacher in me.
Yep.
And I'm expanding your horizons a little bit. And so, yeah, we both did that. And Gary did it to the extent that I made him stop, because he was starting to use ones that I didn't have a dictionary that had. And he had he had a 112-year-old what's the big OED, Oxford English?
Yeah.
Yeah, 112 years old. That was like,
I was about to say the one's like 7 inches thick.
It cracked in the middle. It was like 3.5 inches on either side. And he'd go through and look up words. And that's where Dwemer came from. Dwemer, the best one of all times. It drove people crazy. But it is a real word.
Dwemer. For those watching, what does it mean? What does Dwemer mean?
It's a glow. It's a vibe. An aura emanating from something, or visible around the edges.
I wonder if that's where the word Dwemer comes from, because Dwemer means kind of flickering lights and.
It might. I don't. I just know that word drove people crazy. Just like, well, there's other words that did it too.
Well, my apologies for interrupting you. It's just you mentioned Easter eggs. The question came up, and I was like, I got to ask Tim that while I got it on my mind.
No, we just put in words that we knew people. In fact, I once did, when I was doing these on my own, I once wrote one, and then on the back, inside of the back cover, I had nothing to put there, so I put definitions of the 4 words I knew people were most likely to have to look up. In fact, I believe that's the one you and I are going to work on next. I won't say any more about it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was on the back page.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I put in, the first one was a really bloodthirsty bugger. It was blood sacrifice in Gary's honor. Everything I write is winnable. I don't write TPKs.
You know what you do? I mean, granted, I'll give you one thing. Your second module, the Frozen North.
Well, that's the one I really put a lot of local color into. There's towns, and the mines of McQuantico are named after McQuantico. I can't remember if that was a county or a little town in Walworth County. And there's other Easter eggs, and the family's in there. Little Lukey. Yep. He's an enormous pesky pain in the ass that you have to get around one way or another. So figure it out. Yep. Kill the little kid. Or you got to
the moral dilemma.
There's a moral quandary right off the bat, and he's hasted, and he's got a crossbow with unlimited bolts, and oh God, he's a nightmare. Luckily, they're small bolts, but even so,
but he's beatable.
Oh yes,
and that's something I noticed about a kind of a theme in these, and plus the other modules that I have of yours I've been kind of going through.
Always.
You'll win.
I don't create a monster that can't be beaten. Just like I made the soft spot in the back of the Boule when it raises its fin. All of a sudden, its armor class drops, 4 or 5 classes?
I think it's 5.
It's just, there it is. That's, I give every monster an Achilles heel. Whether or not they walk, but,
But the way you do it is you make the player have to think about it, though, because if instead of jump to conclusions and doing the proverbial push the button, pull the lever type thing, if they just think about what you're presenting to them, you tell them how to do it.
They better think in this, and I like to challenge new biomes, new environments, which is why I wrote the Arredondo in the jungle, and this one is in the Arctic, so to speak. Inside of a massive iceberg. That's an environment that players have not gotten any appreciable amount of experience in. And the thing about icebergs during the day is they melt. So the whole thing's just slipperier than hell in there until they figure out, what can I fashion so I don't keep falling on my ass? And then trying to figure out, have I been here before? How do you mark melting ice?
That's right.
You know, and so they have to figure out these kinds of little things, all the while worrying about whether the Galadoon or the ice kraken is going to stumble upon them.
That's right.
And those I just made up. I thought, well, okay, this is how the holes got made. I came up with a glacier full of holes that whistled. And then I came up with a monster that made the holes much later.
Yep.
No, I saw this whistling glacier. And I thought, oh man, what an adventure setting this would make. And then later I figured, well, how the holes get here?
Yep.
Oh, okay, the ice kraken. Just for shits and giggles, I threw in the Galadoon.
Yep. But that's the nice thing about doing this type of stuff is, you know, you're kind of you when you're a DM and you're making these environments and these monsters and such, and that's part of the creative process. That's fun. Is figuring out yourself on how you're going to do it.
Well, when I write it, it's fun, but I also try to encourage the DMs that acquire these that, okay, especially more so in these smaller ones. I gave a lot of asides. Okay, these are the bad guys. Yeah, and this is the way they're going to act. Now, I don't want to offend DMs that think that I'm trying to tell them how to do it as much as I'm trying to give them characteristics of personalities and do with them as you will.
Yeah.
And too much of what's being written today is what I would consider railroadish, at the very least, if not an out-and-out B&O, because you have to do this to be able to do that. This character can't die in the first sequence because he's necessary in the third one. And I don't. I much prefer a sandbox.
And real quick, for those who are younger who don't understand the terminology, explain to people a B&O.
Oh, that's the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad.
Yeah.
With a lot of very long straight runs.
Yep.
Railroading in an adventure, I think is a mortal sin.
I just want to make sure people don't think that B&O is some mystical gaming term. No, you're referencing to the railroading and all that.
Yeah, so. Well, I try to write sandbox. Here's all these pieces. Here's what I thought about. Feel free to change it as you want, because it's I'm old school. If we didn't like a rule, and we had a good reason not to like it, well, then we fudge it until we figured out a way to. Okay, I like it this way. Yep. And then that would be the rule. These are written so there is some latitude. I mean, you obviously have to get through the glacier, but once you're through, then you have a great deal of latitude. And it again, this is back in my my killer days. It's a very lethal adventure.
Yeah.
And it was made for, let's see, I in the style of, I had to write because of copyrights in the style of the original D&D.
Yeah.
And this was probably written for, in OD&D standards, 7 to 9.
Yeah, it's a high level adventure.
Which are some pretty tough buggers. That's what I use in my upscale set of pre-gens.
Yep.
They're all between 7 and 9, and they're pretty tough buggers in OD&D. Nowadays people look at them and go, oh, trainees, but no, back then they kick your ass. Yeah. Like the difference between a first level or first edition and a second edition bard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very different.
Yeah. Dan the Bard's got a great song about band camp, and about the second edition bard that picked a fight with the first edition bard and found out they knew how to fight.
Yep. Yep.
I wrote them to have something to run, something would be new. The second one has a whole lot of local references. If you know that part of Wisconsin, you'll pick them up. If you don't, it doesn't matter. It's not like you got to know the terrain because you don't. And it was fun, and I had all the family members in there, and the family had been kidnapped, and it was all Gary's kids. And poor Ernie. Ernie got eaten.
Yep, Ernie got eaten. Yep.
Yeah, poor Ernie. He laughed. He laughed about that when he was.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah.
Good. So he took it as good sport.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Ernie's an old gamer anyway, so.
That. Yeah, we had a good laugh about it. Poor Ernie got eaten. Well, I couldn't kill one of the girls. And
Yeah.
And poor Luke, he was already
Yep.
shit, so sorry, Ernie, you had to go. So yeah, I had fun writing them, both because of how I was using family and local Lake Geneva with it honored
your good friend, his legacy.
Well, yeah, and I've gone to everyone since, though I don't write a new adventure for everyone.
Yeah.
Though I will be playing a couple of new adventures this next one, called the Lost Adventures, and they haven't been played in GaryCon since. I think I might have played them each twice up there. Not just two adventures, but I may have played them at. Pulled one out to play for a group that whatever. They haven't been played much at all.
Well, but the nice thing about the Lost Adventures of GaryCon is that, people can not only play your original ones, as you wrote them, but we also took these and we modified them. They can play a 5e version or a classic AD&D version if they want.
Plus, we even have my scrawled little notes in the facsimiles.
I left that in there also in the hardcover book on purpose because, that's just a little bit of the Tim Kask history that's attached to it.
That was Tim not having another scrap of paper to write down that point.
We've all been there and done that, Tim. Now,
plus, I make 8 or 10 of them. I'd give away or sell 5 or 6 of them, so I always had a couple that I'd mark, proof copy or something like that. So it was I wouldn't sell it or give it away by accident.
Now, what made you decide to take a couple of these modules and do what we did to them? I mean, kind of what was the reasoning? What was your thinking? I mean, what kind of brought us about? Let people know.
Well, you and I sat down and said, "Yeah, what do you want to do?" And I showed you a whole box full of self-published stuff. So this was kind of a cool idea for a Kickstarter. This is just to let people know who Wizard Tower Games is. And I've got others that we're going to do in months and years ahead. I got 8 already written. So I don't lack for material. So I thought, well, this would be fun. For Kickstarter, you got to make a splash. So let's go way back. And I got a hold of Luke. And he was very generous and said, yeah, hey, sure, it's good.
And a really special thank you to Luke, because Luke on this whole thing was gracious enough, said, go ahead, use the name GaryCon. That's his IP. He, naturally, he would be very picky about letting somebody do that, but Luke was very, very generous and gracious for letting us do that.
Yeah, we gave him all the credits. We wrote it exactly the way he wanted it. All his registered trademarks and everything are protected, and he allowed us to use them. And they are authentic. Yes, I ran these at the first 2 GaryCons. The first one I went to was down at the Legion Hall, and my God, we were crammed in there.
I bet you were.
But we had fun. My God, we had fun. Because everybody was really enthusiastic, and it hadn't really taken off like it grown like it is now. It's just hardcore gamers, mostly fantasy role players, and airplane flyers from the Fight in the Sky Society, Mike Carr's group, with his Dawn Patrol game, though it was originally called Fight in the Skies, which I'm still an avid fan of. I even bought a T-shirt with a beautiful SPAD on it. Anyway, I like the idea of getting together and remembering Gary, because Gary and Dave started this whole crazy mess, and there were, others that were involved in differing peripheral roles. but Gary's the figurehead.
Yeah.
Gary was the garrulous one,
Mm-hmm.
and that's he's become the face of.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate in that Dave's been minimalized to a certain extent, though he does have an avid following up in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and as well he should, because he was instrumental in the development of the game.
Yeah, Vic Dorso honors him with DaveCon. Yeah,
I went to the very first DaveCon.
Yeah,
and it was such a sad thing, because there were two camps: the righteous true believers and everybody else, and they couldn't get together, so just everybody else came, and none of the righteous true believers came, because there's two legal this, and it's a shame. We just got together and play some games.
Play some freaking games and have fun, man. Yeah. Honor the man.
Yeah. Well, and that's GaryCon now. That's that and Wizard Tower, WizardCon, whatever we're going to call that, WizardCon. Those are going to be the only two I go to, because I can drive to both of them. I don't like flying anymore. I never really loved it. Odd thing for somebody in naval aviation, but I didn't like being. No. Anyway, so I continue to go because I see lots of friends there.
Yep.
I get to see some of the new stuff. Gen Con recently concluded, and when I saw those first day pictures,
and
I don't get me wrong, I have the utmost respect for Gen Con.
Sure,
it is the grandfather of all the big game cons. However, how big is going to be too big?
Yeah,
I was appalled by the scarcity of masks that I saw in any of the pictures that I saw.
Yeah, did you see the one Stefan was posting? Kind of the overview. I mean, there had to be 1,000 flipping people crammed up and down
that
those
one hallway.
escalators.
Yeah, I know that hallway. That hallway leads down to the doors to the auctions off to the right side. I know that hallway very well. But I don't criticize the con. I criticize the attendees for not being smart enough to realize that is a potential spreader event of the first magnitude.
Absolutely.
And, the con can't, you must wear a mask. And I'm sure, I know they suggested that somewhere in that monster catalog thing they give, they give out every year, about the size of a small phone book. And I'm sure it was there, but I saw very, very, very few masks. And that bothers me. Even, I got a mild dose, even though I've had I had up to that point, all 4 of the inoculations. I still got a mild dose.
Yep.
And it wasn't 36 hours, but it still wasn't any fun. And people that don't get mild doses get a whole lot sicker. And I don't understand. I don't understand. We're supposed to be smart people.
Yeah.
Dumb people don't play complicated war games.
That's right.
And yet we're not smart enough to take care of our risk of being infected and going home and being sick for a week again, because there's new variants out there.
Well, it's like the flu. It's always evolving, always changing. And
one out there now, they don't even know if the inoculations they gave us before are good on it. I'm hoping the COVID I got after the inoculations is good on the one that's going around now.
Well, and on top of that, you're 75.
Yeah.
And, you're 75. I'm only 56, but, I have some medical issues that I don't want to get COVID.
Lots of people that have exposure issues and autoimmune and I just think 70,000 people is what I heard was the announced attendance.
Wow.
That is just crazy. Last year was like 61 or 62. And
70,000 people, Tim?
Yeah. Isn't that
Holy
amazing?
shit.
Gary started in his basement long, long ago.
Yeah. Would you have 10 people?
Wow. Break my arm there, patting myself.
Yeah. I mean, look at you guys started.
Yeah.
And you said one time to me, you're like, I don't know why people look at me like they do. They look at you like you do, Tim, because you are a legend in the gaming community, because look what you were part of and look what you had a hand in creating.
Yeah, I was, and I was very lucky, and I had the skill set they needed.
Yeah.
And I got a free ticket to go on the ride.
Yeah.
And I got paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I kept my spot there until I chose to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I contributed in many ways, big and small. And I'm proud of that. You know, what we accomplished, what we became. Last month, when the Smithsonian Magazine came out with the article about how D&D is changing,
really good article. Thank you.
Well, it just blew me away. You know, every time I see a D&D box or a book on a TV show as a prop, I go, "Hey, look at that! First time." You know, so I get a little tickle out of that. I don't get any money, so
but you know,
there's nothing to do with that whatsoever.
But I think at least with me, it would be, it's just to be able to, it's sort of like with Lost Adventures of GaryCon. The idea that stuff I have my hand touching is bringing happiness to other people, fellow gamers, and they're playing it and they're enjoying it. That's a big part of it for me.
Well, you know, one of the reasons that I write them is one of the reasons that made me want to teach. And that is, you know, the old theory about the more you learn, the more wrinkly your brain becomes. Mm-hmm. Okay, we know that's no longer true, but it's a wonderful image. Well, I taught because I wanted to create new wrinkles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wrote what I wrote because I wanted to make new wrinkles, make them think in a way they hadn't thought before, perhaps. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make new wrinkles in their brains, because in my hubris, I believe that new wrinkles only improve because they give us more to draw upon before we make a decision. And so I write in a style that is not, this is the way it's done. Yeah. That's not how I write an adventure. I write an adventure that's a whole stew of different ingredients. And this is one recipe, but feel free to fool around with it if you like. Mm-hmm. And I just can't write a dogmatic adventure. You must do this, you must do that, and then go over to there. No, that's not my thing. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not one of the guards in Wizard of Oz. Mm-hmm.
Now, so, you know, Lost Adventures, it's out. Well, why don't we show some imagery of it?
Well, yeah, they probably want to know how beautiful it is. Well, I'll put it this way. It's the most beautiful book I've ever been associated with.
Thank you. I really am honored to hear you say that, Tim.
Oh, without a doubt.
Thank you very much. This right here, the image I'm getting ready to show right here, I'm going to show it here. This basically is what you get when you order the deluxe pack. You've got
Kickstarter.
It's the Lost Adventures hardcover book. You get the softcover bound book, and what that is, I don't have a comb binding machine, so I couldn't do it identical to yours, but I wanted something kind of quasi-authentic. So,
well, I'm only going to make 300 up with a comb binding machine. Yeah, I still have.
Yeah, so they get Lost Adventures of GaryCon. They get the Tower of the Mad Wizard and Return to the Frozen North all in one. Those are identical scanned copies of what you have given me for this project.
Yep, they are. Even down to the notes I took.
Yep.
How many hit points the guy had left.
They get a signed certificate of authenticity, numbered, matching to the book. Inside the book, there is a book plate with your hand signature and numbered. They get 6 large format maps, full color of there's the known world, there's the region of Eferia, the Duchy of Manzac, Mukawango, Tower of the Mad Wizard, individual maps, and then you get the large underground map. Yes. Thank you. And so they get a lot of bang for their buck. The manual.
This deluxe one is pretty luxe. There's no doubt about that.
Sorry about the lighting on it. This is inside the book. This is a full color. The inside maps are much more vibrant. This was a little bit bad lighting my part. I'm not a photographer. I lay out.
Yes, they are. I can attest to that.
Yep.
The whole book is color and it's gorgeous.
Yep. And this is the world that graciously allowed us to place these in. This right here is two of the pre-gen player characters, Freya and Cord. Again, art by Matt Forsyth. Matt is an artist out of New Zealand. He's done a lot of work with Magic the Gathering. He's done some Lorcana stuff now, which is the new Disney card game. Matt is just, you can look him up on ArtStation. Matt Forsyth, very gracious, very nice man. And as you can see, he has a hell of a talent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's definitely the best art that I've ever had in any book I was associated with.
Thank you. Matt,
Freya blew me away, even though she's stereotype, and we got to tread lightly these days.
But you know what? She's technically, really, she is a stereotype, but you know what? She is fully dressed.
Yes,
so it's no chainmail bikini and all that. I mean, when he does it, I think he kind of thinks more of, like she's got the wolf, like maybe that's wolf, maybe it's a polar bear, but cloak on,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like if you're going to be a lady adventure running into the arms of danger, that's a good outfit to be wearing.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, chainmail skirt.
Yep.
It looks like an iron cuirass.
Yep.
Iron brassiere. Yeah.
Yep. And then, of course, Freya, the main player character. This is the main sheet when you first open up, get to the player characters, It's
all human drawn.
It's all human drawn, too. There's no AI art in this book. And actually, there will be no AI art drawn in anything that we publish because right now, to me, and I don't know about you really, but and I think we've talked a little bit about this, but to me, AI art right now is too much up in the air. I think eventually it's going to come to be a thing that a lot of people use, but until they can clean it up and make it a little bit more ethical, I think I'm going to step away from AI generated stuff.
I don't want anything to do with it.
Yep.
Maybe a map. Maybe a map. If there was a plain program out there that says, give me a dungeon level with.
There is one, and I'll share you a link after the video.
Something purely mechanical. I might.
Yep, and it's old school art too. It's the old style.
Oh, good.
With the cross hatching and all that. But
that would mean drawing a new adventure, and we already have 8 more left to publish.
Yeah, we got 8 more to go.
That's not likely to happen.
But this is the very beginning of the book. In the very start of the book, we talk a little bit about some of the kingdoms that these 2 adventures take place in. And kind of a breakdown about overall, we talk a little bit about the military, religion, customs, famous places within it. Again, it's kind of a parchment colored paper, very full color, vibrant. Again, the lighting is a little bit off. The artwork here is my penciled work. This is my pencil drawings that I do. So I want to put some of that in there because I want to kind of have my stuff attached to something that you did also. And again, we talk about...
I just thought it was good art. Okay.
Thank you.
I like that door.
Thank you. Actually, that drawing of that door is hanging up in my wife's sewing area.
Ah, okay.
So the original. But we have in here important things to note about the manual, how to play the modules. We talk about environmental constants, which are things like what is a standard hallway width, what is the standard door width, that type of stuff. We talk about the structure to the player, about what to read to players versus GM notes. GM notes are in red, that are actually a burgundy, more of a dark burgundy. This is just, I'm not trying to give too much away. That's us taking certain select imagery.
Yes.
But this is
one
actually
of the levels of the tower.
Yes. And we kind of have a kind of an indoor mapping key. And then I took your drawn maps and I put them and I redrew them high resolution along with the originals. But this is in the adapted AD&D 5e portion of the book. Because, when they open it up, you'll see the first part is like in the Tower of the Mad Wizard. The first section under the maps is the new version for AD&D 5e, and then it goes into your scanned copies of your exact book.
Well, I got no problem. On the curmudgeon, I tell people if you're having fun, I don't give a damn what edition you're playing. If you're having fun and your players come back week after week, you're doing it right. Have fun. I don't have to play 5e.
Yeah. And what is your famous quote about fun, Tim?
The fun is the thing.
The fun is the thing. Yep. I actually cite that in the very beginning of the book.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we're all there. Whether we're playing RPGs or board games or minis, we're there to have fun.
And ladies, gentlemen, and small children, you've heard it from the man himself. It's just about the fun. It doesn't matter what edition you play. Play what you like.
I don't really care what game you play.
Yeah. Have fun.
This has been converted to these 3 particular schemes. Yeah. If you play another one and you know how to convert from whether it's 1E or O, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Convert it. I don't care what system you play this with. I just want you to solve all the puzzles. Solve all the puzzles.
Don't push
survive all the perils.
Yeah.
I didn't say kill everything. Just survive.
But player characters from 2 GMs to you, 2 DMs to you, just because it's a button and it lights up, don't mean you have to push it. Think about it.
Or a lever waiting to be pulled.
Especially when there's a sign, don't pull the... You know there's going to be someone that's going to pull the lever.
I'll quote my recently departed dear friend Jim Ward. Jim Ward said that the surest way to get the party to keep TPK themselves is to give them a panel of flashing colored lights.
He's right.
They will keep pushing buttons until one of them kills them. He had an adventure that I witnessed at an early GaryCon where they went in and ended up pushing buttons, found themselves in a trash masher where atomized and ejected into space. That's the best TPK I ever saw.
Oh, man.
Absolutely the best. Dummies, don't push the button.
Yeah.
Now, I don't put too many buttons in mine, so you're
I'm more of a thoughtful player, so I may be a letdown if I ever play.
These 2 adventures are safe from buttons, as I recall.
Yes, they are. Okay. Buttons and levers. They're okay.
There's other shit in there, but yeah.
Yeah. And then these are some of the monsters. This is one of the 5e creatures.
Yeah, a bunch of new ones that were created just for this, for 5e.
Yeah, there's a total of 18 monsters, a mixture of 5e and AD&D 1e. And they're just new creatures, never been seen before, and just something kind of like additional special for the book.
That's what GMs need the most, is a steady supply of monsters that the players have not seen, so that when you spring one on them, they go, oh, hell yes, that's a Maggoteer, armor class 3, No, give them something new.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I want to do, is the purpose of this and in other projects that we do. I think it'd be a really cool idea is...
Oh, we'll put new stuff in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to do what I did all those years ago. I want to put new stuff in, too.
Good deal. And then we have...
Of course, you might not like the new stuff I'm going to put in.
Yeah. But
remember who created psionics.
That's true. But this is some of the large format maps. These are large maps, 17 inches wide by 11 tall, full color. This is the area of Hefaria. Actually, if you go, and I can go up here.
Well, they're detailed.
The Tower of the Mad Wizard is right here. Map. Yeah. So the Tower of Mad Wizard is located right there. Excuse me. So you have that, and then this actually is one of the AD&D 1E monsters. One of the new ones. So depending on, again, your edition you play, and hopefully what they can do here is, if you're unfamiliar how to convert,
well, they can study what we did.
Yeah.
Take the one you know, and then either retro convert or convert it forward.
Yep.
And we're not saying that we're the perfect experts either.
No.
But we think we did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it could serve as a guideline for converting stuff. Though I would see more 5e players going back and converting the gazillion monsters that we made in O and first edition. Mm-hmm. But that's just my prediction.
Well, but the nice thing also about these is what you can do is there's it's very hard to screw it up because you can adapt these. Like if you're using a colloid right here, and let's say, 1d6, and you roll a 6, and that's too many. Mentally just change it. Just say, okay, there's one colloid here, or two, or whatever. Change the stats. That's what this is all about. Modify the game the way you want it.
Well, you should modify. One of my principles is that when I sit down and write a monster or an adventure, I get a rough calculation of how many hit points all the bad guys are that I'm putting in there. And I balance that against how many hit points are in the adventuring group, taking into account that they can cure and heal. Mm-hmm. But there's, the balance is never in the player's character's favor, but that doesn't mean you got to kill everything.
That's right. Sometimes run.
So now I gotta admit though that I believe that these experience point values, I never liked the written experience points values. I always thought they were too low. I used to argue with Gary about that.
But then, as the DM, though, you can modify it any way you want. Just be consistent. Right. I mean, the man himself said
one of these things. What's this one? About 300 hit point or experience points. What is it worth?
381.
Yeah. Now, see, especially the first time they ran across them, I'd make them worth a lot more.
Gotcha.
Because they're new. They don't know what they are. They don't know how to fight them.
So you're factoring as a DM. You're going to factor in the fact that you're going to give those players a little bit of a oomph because of the fact that they don't know, and maybe they're going to figure it out.
Right. And if they go through the process. If they get attacked by 10 orcs, okay, that's base points. There's the orcs. Yeah. Unless there's something special about the orcs. But yeah, I used to figure, that, oh man, they never saw this before, and they did pretty well. So I jack up the points, and in the I got a low battery in my left ear. That's not right. Where was it? We didn't divide up points. I gave everybody so many points.
Gotcha. That's actually how I do it. I don't divide up. I'll give each player character, but I can actually, I don't know about you, but I adapt though on what they contributed to it.
I might hand out bonus points. Yeah, I can certainly see that. You're the one that pulled the party's ass out of the fire. Yeah, you ought to get a couple thousand.
Absolutely,
extra points. But I never followed them. I never followed the rules, even when I was playing OD&D with experience. I would just, and the odd thing is, if we played 5 or 6 times before anybody thought to say, "Hey, we've got experience to total up." And so we said,
I ran into that before myself.
We figured it out, and everybody at the table went up a couple levels.
But that's kind of a compliment to the DM, because if you got players that are so engrossed in the game...
You also got to remember, this is a bunch of guys that had no idea what they were doing because we'd never done it before.
That was back in the day when you got... Okay, I get it now.
That was my Gribbly Carbondale. They'd never played. I'd never DM'd.
Oh, real quick. Carbondale, what is it for those people? Because you've mentioned it a couple times.
Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. That's where I got my bachelor's.
So that's the gaming club group that you gamed with?
Yeah. They existed. Okay. They didn't have a name, and they existed when I got there, and there was 5 or 6 guys, and they were mostly miniatures players, and Tom Wom being one of them. And so we had an activity fair coming up real soon. So I made up a name and I made up a logo with press type, and we applied and got a table, and we went from 5 or 6 members to about 12 or 15 within a couple of weeks. And at one time I was running groups of 15 to 17 players.
Oh, wow. 15 to 17 players D&D?
I was the only PM. I had the only set of books.
Holy shit.
And the only set of dice, which is what I made, I believe, to be the first dice tower ever used with D&D, because we had one set of dice. So I made a dice tower out of a wooden cigar box, took it in the next week. I said, all right, these are the dice. This is the tower. Everybody roll your dice through the tower. That way there was no arguing about how the Foresighters fell or any of that stuff. And so we never had an argument about dice rolls or anything.
Gotcha.
And and it pared down to about a dozen. And as many as 9 would show up on any given Saturday.
Gotcha. Well, go to the next one real quick. Oh, this is the cover. Hardcover,
Yeah,
full
you can
color,
see it's shiny.
gloss. Yep, gloss. Real quick, just kind of, I've actually never asked your opinion on this. Do you prefer a gloss cover or a matte color cover finish?
Oh, this is fine.
Okay.
This is fine.
But I'm talking about just in general, as a gamer, as a maker, or creator, what do you prefer, gloss
Probably
or matte?
gloss.
Yeah, I like the feel.
Probably gloss. I come from the period of glossy covers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all my covers were always glossy. Every magazine I was involved with always had glossy covers.
And for those developers out there, those publishers just starting out that are got a million questions, there's one thing about hardcover, especially when it comes to finishing. If you want your finish to last longer and be more durable, go gloss, because gloss has a natural it's a natural way it's finished, whereas with matte, it's more prone to scuffing, more prone to scraping, believe it or not, the color off of it even.
They also look better on the shelves in the game stores.
Yes, absolutely. And they have a better tooth, a better feel to them.
Well, they've kind of got a protective shell with a gloss finish.
Yes.
And so the colors will stay vibrant longer too. They don't fade as fast.
That's right. So for you publishers out there thinking, go gloss when you can. This is actually in the book itself also, more of your map, Tim, my artwork. That's basically just kind of like an overall idea of what they can expect. It's very well laid out.
I will say, I didn't have anything to do with the layout, except to look at it afterwards and say, hey, this is pretty damn good. Go with it.
Thank you.
And it is. It's oh God, I think about the way we used to lay shit out. Oh God, it has an interior logic. It's got an index. Or is it a table of contents? Table of contents. Yeah, it's very. Don and I both like a lot of white space. Don't like dense pages.
Yeah.
Used to print dense pages because I only had so many pages I could print on. But when I have the latitude, I like white space. I think it makes it cleaner.
So do I. I like that. Easier. I like some air. I like some open space in it.
Yeah, and I like to be able to know, okay, next topic.
This also does something that is a pet peeve of mine in gaming. You know, game pages, when they're laid out and they're not justified. And for those of you who are wondering what justification is, it's where the columns line up along the edge instead of being like all back and forth. And you know,
it's a cleaner layout.
Yeah,
and it's one I much prefer.
Again, another shot of the maps, full color, a little bit more brightly lit now. And then this is when they open it up. This is the art plate where your signature's at. They're numbered, and that's what they can expect when they open up the book and they see your John Hancock or your Timothy Kask.
And if you're interested, you better get one now.
You better get them now, absolutely. And this is kind of just a close-up to show the finish and the quality. I'm really proud of my binding and my printing. I'm picky about it.
It's a quality book. I had nothing to do with the putting together of it, and I can tell you, it's a quality book. Hardcover, saddle stitched. These are produced the same way, using the same methods as the original 3 books first printing. Hardbound, saddle stitch. And you see so many of those old books still in good condition.
Yeah.
And you can expect that this will hold up too.
And this was another reason why when we were developing this, I had the idea to include a spiral bound copy, because spiral binding can be laid open flat. And along with that, you can use that when you game instead of your hardbound book and cracking it open, because no matter what you do, if you take this book and you open it up, and you know, when you open a book up, you hear it kind of going crack, 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 because that's just the glue in the gutter. But if you take this and you really smack it down, you can break the binding in a book, no matter how good it is. But you know, I took a lot of time and effort to get these bloody things bound.
Well, we're not claiming they're bulletproof, but
no, not at all. But that's the reason why we did a spiral bound with it.
Anybody else's.
Yes. So spiral bound, when you play the game, of course, use the spiral bound because you can heck, even a Spiralbound, you can make notes if you want on it. I mean, it's a play copy.
Yeah, it's an oddity.
And this is Mr. Wampler, Jim Wampler, Marvin the Mage. Jim, for everybody who everybody knows him, but just to kind of give you kind of a little bit of information, Jim Wampler is the head honcho over at Mud Puppy Games. And Jim does Marvin the Mage, my favorite comic strip for D&D. I actually have his comics up there on my shelf. And Jim was very gracious letting us use this, but also Jim gave me a lot of help with art direction and talking about layout. He gave a lot of input. Me and Jim have a semi-regular Zoom call we have usually on a Saturday, and drink coffee and shoot shit, as they say. And Jim is a really good guy, really top-notch guy.
Well, everybody knows that Jim's my wingman, so anything I say would be superfluous. But yeah, I like his Marvin the Mage. I like Marvin the character.
Yeah.
He's very much a self-portrait.
Yeah.
About how Jim likes to play the game.
Yeah.
And his favorite saying is, "Don't get in my firing solution."
Yep. that's classic Wampler.
Throwing fireballs whenever he can. And he's unapologetic about it. He throws fireballs.
Hey, that's the way gaming is. And for those of don't know, Jim actually Mutant Crawl Classics.
Yes, that's his game.
Yes, it is
beautiful.
Yes,
he also does Scientific Barbarian.
Yes,
which is a semi-regular fanzine, hard, slick paper, nice.
And his Scientific Barbarian, for those of you who can go to mudpuppygames.com and grab it.
Yeah.
It is chock full of good game stuff. I mean, it's not a wasted space. I mean, Jim puts a lot of thought and a lot of effort into it, and just really puts into it. I take it your cat is probably in there, one of your cats. Isn't the grumpy one downstairs?
No, I don't think either one of them's here. No, they're probably over sleeping with Cheryl or going upstairs and slept with her up there.
Gotcha. But this is the spiral bound one.
Yeah, that's all my layout. I did all that with Word.
Yeah, back in the day.
Ago.
But
it's neat. It's got justified margins.
I mean, I just think that what's nice about this is you can go ahead and you can use sticky notes. I mean, I suggest use sticky notes and make notes and put them in there and and you can lay it flat. You can flip it over and lay it where it's only open on one. So instead of using your nice hardcover book when you play these modules, use the spiral bound. Save the other that, but that right there,
If you don't DM at your own house, it'll travel.
That's right. Better. But that was pretty much the imagery that I had for it. I mean, me and you both have our copy, but beautiful. Turned out really nice. I'm very proud of it. And Tim,
I'm very pleased with it.
Thank you very much.
I'm incredibly pleased with it.
Yep.
It's the first book that I've had out that has my name on it solely.
Yeah, you deserve it. Absolutely.
I'm pleased. Yeah, first of many, we hope.
Yep. First of many, we will. I plan to be working with you for quite a while. I mean,
I would like to say that too, but I'm 75.
Well, you know what? 75.
I'm up to 11 pills a day.
11 pills a day.
Yeah, about half of them are supplements because I'm running out of this or running out of that, depleting this and depleting that.
Yeah, you got yourself what kind of wood is that pipe? That was pretty.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I was shocked. I came down, me and Tina came over, you grilled. By the way, Tim Kask, I will say this, cooks a mean-ass German hot dog on the grill. And,
I take my grilling seriously.
You can tell. And
we had burgers last night that were just...
Oh, did you? Oh.
Well, actually, we made them into patty melts. They were killer.
Oh, patty melts are good.
Yeah. Pepper jack cheese, onions, pickles, and mustard.
But I came down there, and here you are, lighting up on a new pipe, and I was like, wait a minute, where is Old Faithful? You're a little guy that exactly. You finally
Has gotten retired.
tired, didn't you? You burned a hole through it finally after 50 some years.
If you look carefully, you see the sides are all curved.
Oh yeah.
Well, that used to be solid, but over the years it's burned away.
You know what?
Well,
it was
70,
50 years.
73.
Yeah, 50 years.
Time.
Wow,
I can't tell you
50
how much
years.
dope I smoked through it.
Oh yeah, how many pounds?
Tiny bowl at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my go-to. But he's been retired. Now I have Futu.
Yeah.
Futu. He's a good replacement.
Yep.
And it's funny. All right. No,
you're fine. Go ahead.
No. I was going to digress. No.
Okay. No biggie.
Topic.
Well,
I saw a shiny.
Oh.
And it took away my concentration.
Gotcha. Well, but the nice thing is so Lost Adventures is out and about. I am almost done printing the minis for D20 Delving.
Oh yeah, I want to see some of those.
Yep. So when I come down next, because I need to bring more copies down to you.
Well, I still have 3. I've only given away 2 so far.
Yeah, but I'm going to bring the rest to you. Plus, I want to bring you some copies of Blades and Arcana that you edited graciously for me, Eric, and Tom. And also, along with that, I'll bring you down some minis.
Is that what they finally got called?
Blades, yeah. It's going to, instead of Blades and Sorcery, we decided to take the BS out of it. And
it should have been Sabers and Sorcery. Or Scimitars and Sorcery.
Scimitars and Sorcery. But Blades and Arcana is what they settled on. So
hey, they're publishing it. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I just read through it and edited. That's all.
Yep. So I'm bringing your copies down, but I'm also going to bring you some minis down, and I'm going to print some larger minis. I think I'll bring you a full set of the large minis down. I'm going to do them about 8 inches tall.
Jesus. Then we'll have to print an oversized board game when it gets out. And then we'll
don't give me ideas.
I'll have to get speakers for my phone, so when we read,
that's right,
it booms out across the basement.
And for those who don't know, D20 Delving is a board game me and Tim has done. Something very special about it is all the cards and everything have a QR code, and what you do is you take your phone and you scan the QR code, and then you'll hear Tim read the card off. And you get pretty creative sometimes in the way you enunciate.
Oh, God, I had 200 and some of them to do. I would have died of boredom.
Oh, 236, 237. What's the difference?
Yeah, right. Well, I would have died of boredom if you hadn't let me loose on a few. No, really.
But that's a nice thing, though. I mean, you were a lot. I mean, that's what I wanted. You know, we wanted you to, I wanted you to really have fun with it.
I had fun. Well, and I think the great thing about it is that it's going to be a game that's available for people with limited vision.
Yes.
And, even literacy issues, reading issues.
The American Council of the Blind is going to be most likely endorsing it.
Well, that'll be good. I'm waiting to go on NPR.
And that was the other thing I was going to say is NPR is waiting for us to get hard copies done so we can go ahead and do an interview with them and kind of show them how to play the game.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
That'll be fun.
So good things are happening.
I can do live readings of the cards.
Yes, you can actually.
Chances are, though, it won't be like whatever I did when we did them.
Yeah, but
they
still.
were all just, okay, give me 8 more to read. And I just,
but the way you did it, it's fun. It's a great project.
Oh, yeah. And, I didn't read them in a monotone. And,
and I'll be honest with you. I think that, and I was telling Tina this the other day, I think that D20 Delving will be my, that one project that I've done with you that I really kind of, it's just something with me is special because I think it has your voice attached to it and all that.
Well, and we can make a difference with this. We can make a profound difference. I worked for decades with people with disabilities, and one of the groups I couldn't work with in what I was doing particularly were unsighted people, or I don't know what the correct term is now. But I can certainly see the need for modifications and accommodations, and if you can get a family board game that everybody can play equally, I think it's a great idea. And it's a family game. There's no you kill stuff, but it's not blood, gore, and you roll the dice, you win. You know, there's no. I don't read things as you roll a 5, you disavow him as slimy.
Yeah.
Or towards you, trip you up, and you fall into them.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't do that.
And the nice thing about it also is because there's cards.
Yeah.
You know, if you are a parent and you do have a concern about certain types of, you know, there's no vulgarity and there's no swearing in it, nothing like that. But some parents may say, well, I don't want that type of stuff. They can go through the cards and remove the cards they don't like.
Yeah.
And just simply not play with those cards. So it's a very flexible game.
Yeah, God knows there's enough cards.
Hey, it's called variety. You know, but really, in all fairness, you know, you're ribbing me on card count. But the nice thing about it is, you know, the reason I have so many cards is because you have encounter cards, which have monsters and traps, but then you have skills and you have magical items and regular equipment.
It's well, to make not too fine a point, it's a grown-up version of the dungeon game that TSR put out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has a lot more subtlety to it. And I think it's well, I know that I'll be honest, I love to play the dungeon game, but God darn, I didn't want to be the one that had to set it up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, huge.
All those little slips of paper on it. Oh, Jesus. Mm-hmm. You spend 40 minutes setting the game up.
Yeah.
And then it's over in an hour.
Yeah. Well, we timed D20 Delving from the time you open the box, and I'm talking about people who are not familiar with it. They got to grab the rule set. In the very beginning of the rule set, there is a quick setup. You can get it set up in 15 minutes. That's if you go ahead and you don't know anything about the game first time setting up. Once you're familiar with it, you crack it open, lay it out, within 5 minutes, you're set up with the basics.
Cool.
You can go ahead and start.
Cool.
So,
cool. Well, I'm looking forward, and you know, I'm more looking forward because I get to say once again, get stuffed, Justin.
Yep. You see, this is the little bonus to me. How many times has he attacked your videos and mine and other people's videos and stuff, and they say none of this is real? Well, guess what? It's real. You know, there was another attack today on WizardCon. Big post by an alt account, and what they basically said was WizardCon in Michigan needs to be boycotted because it is a pro-pedophile convention. Yep. So.
That's got to be Justin.
Yep. Who I can't say who I think it is, but let's put it this way: they hit a bunch of OSR gaming groups. People were really cool with me. I got messages off the hook today. People going, Don, this is being said. You want to know about it? The admin stepped in and zapped him real quick. So didn't work, but this is just the desperation. So D20 Delvin's being produced.
Slime like his is hard to kill.
Yeah, but that's okay because you know what? Every game that's put out and every game we talk about and every game that is shown is just another way to say, see, he's full of shit.
Get stuffed, Justin.
Get stuffed. So, but with that, you know what? Positive things are happening, good things are happening, and we've been at this over an hour now.
I won $15 a day playing Keno when we were out to lunch.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and then we got this thing in the mail today that's about, you know, encouraging people to play the lottery. It was worth $2.
Hey.
And so I bought a lottery ticket, and there's a giant drawing tonight, so I'm hoping my luck holds out. Had a great lucky day today. Let's see it hold out.
Hey, you don't win if you don't play.
That's right. That's right. It was just a lark. Yeah, I go, well, hell, I ought to go buy a lottery ticket. And so I did.
But got some other good things coming up before we go. We have, like I said, D20 Delving is being released here pretty soon. We have another game that is going to be premiered at WizardCon that you're going to be playing privately with 10 lucky players.
Oh, the one we're going to bring out then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a real fun one.
Okay. I can handle 10 players, easy.
Yeah. And
especially in this game, a couple of hands full. I won't say any more.
Yeah, a couple of handfuls, exactly. And the nice thing about WizardCon is that you're going to be in a private room with people. What we're going to do is we're going to feed you We're going to provide drinks if you want drinks, non-alcoholic or alcoholic. It's there.
I got to ask you a question when we're done with this about the drinks in particular.
Okay.
When we're done.
Okay, we'll get that. So, but everybody, thank you for tuning into the video. Tim, thank you very much. And
no, I'll always help sell my own stuff.
yeah, well, hey, why not? But also, I'll tell you what, I want to say this for other people about this man sitting.
Oh, don't start that again.
I am. No, you have been a hell of a pleasure to work with.
Well, thank you.
And do with. You have been. You are not only, you offer your help and your knowledge, and you really just help out, period. But no more sappy stuff. I'll let everybody go. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. And everybody will be posting pictures this weekend. I'm finishing up Binding Effect when I'm off the video with Tim. I'm going to finish up Blazing Arcana because those are shipping starting tomorrow also. So, everybody, you guys all have a good night. Tim, thank you very much.